Hello, and welcome to the Mid-Ohio Valley Public Forum video podcast. I'm Jennifer Bryant.
And I'm Kim Van Ryn.
And we're your co-hosts. The current pandemic has changed life quite a bit throughout our country.
This is an election year, and one of the things that has changed is that candidates can't campaign the way they normally would. We hope this podcast will enable voters to make a more informed choice about who they want to vote for.
And if you're one of those candidates and you are interested in being interviewed, you can reach out to us either through our Facebook page, that's MOV Public Forum on Facebook, or via email, movpublicforum@gmail.com. But you should do it soon because Election Day is less than a month away and people are already voting.
Today we'll be interviewing Trish Pritchard. Trish is running for the West Virginia House of Delegates, District 10. Welcome, Trish. We're glad you could join us today.
Thank you. And thank you so much for doing this again. We enjoyed our talk back in the spring in the primary. And I just want you to know how much it's appreciated, the time that you've spent informing the citizens of Wood County. It's great.
Thank you. And for those of you who may have missed our conversation with Trish during the primary, we're going to link that in the comments so you can take a few minutes and watch that. But for those who may have missed it, give us a very short introduction on who you are and why you decided to run for office.
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Wood County. And I raised two boys on a farm off New England Ridge with my husband, Ron. We've been married for 33 years. I worked down at DuPont. I started out as an operator, and I retired in human resources after 36 years. I really, after I retired, I really wanted to make a difference in Wood County. I really wanted to make a difference for my children and my future grandchildren. And I decided the best way to do that was to get off the sidelines and run for office.
Well, we take for granted that you're running for office in order to benefit the people of District 10. So tell us about the district. What do you see as the three biggest issues that are impacting the residents and voters of District 10?
Well, one of the issues that really concerns me, and I think this is because I have so many friends that are teachers and retired teachers, our schools. Our schools have been our pride, our pride and joy here in Wood County. We've always been very fortunate to have such great schools. It's so important that we pay our teachers and our school service personnel well, and that we provide for their benefits. And over time, we've fallen further and further behind. And so our young people are leaving. They're leaving for better pay and better benefits in other states. And so I think it's really important that the foundation has to be our education system and our schools. And that's the personnel that staff them. It's so important. And then you move on from our young people having a great education to finding a good job. And so we have to look at economic development in our area and how do we have good paying jobs so that our young people will stay here. And as I have learned more and more over this past year, it is so important that we repeal right to work so that our unions are able to have good paying jobs. And I think it's also important that we understand that the prevailing wage needs to be reinstituted so that we can end up with, when we have contracts for work, that the people are paid the prevailing wage and they're not incentivized to bring in labor from outside the state. It's just really, really important. It's also important, excuse me, to support small business. And I've learned that we really have a lot of redundant regulation that makes it very difficult for small businesses to get started. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. And so I capped that off with talking about healthcare access. I think our state must expand healthcare access, make sure people have access to good healthcare, and along with that, addiction recovery resources. So important. And I have learned through research, as well as talking to people that advocates for healthcare, that there's things we can do, concrete things. We can create a Medicaid buy-in program. We can expand Medicaid coverage for young mothers' postpartum care, so important in the first year. And then to expand our elder care for our seniors so that they can stay in assisted living and not have to move to nursing homes if it's not necessary. So many things we can do to improve healthcare access.
Well, it sounds like you have some great ideas on what we need here in Wood County and in the rest of our state as well. Do you have any plans in place for those ideas? Do you have policies or legislation that you can think of that you'd like to offer up if you're elected?
Well, I think, like I said, around the jobs with the right to work repeal and the prevailing wage, I think those are important from a jobs perspective, good paying jobs. And then, like I said, the expansion of Medicare access is really important. One of the things I think is just as important as what you want to do, it's how you want to do it. And I believe too much legislation is written by lobbyists. And so I think it's really important that we have experts in the room, that we have the right perspectives, all the stakeholders in the room when we're crafting legislation, so that we avoid unintended consequences. And so I don't set myself up as a healthcare expert. I don't set myself up as an expert on anything. I think you bring in experts and you bring in the people impacted by your legislation so that you end up with a better result,
Well, Trish, voters often don't have the opportunity to meet the candidates on a more personal level. And so we think that is helpful for people to know the candidates as people and not just as political candidates. So with that in mind, we'd like to ask you a few questions about Trish Pritchard as a person and not as a candidate.
Okay.
What would you say you are most passionate about?
I really think, as I look back over my my life, I think that one of my foundational things that formed me, my parents taught me, my mom and dad taught me to always leave a place better than you found it. And I've really done that my entire life, whether it was at my church, when I led the effort to remodel our worship space so that people in wheelchairs and walkers had access to the entire worship space. And then we crafted a beautiful welcome center, as well as my career at DuPont. Since I started out as an operator, I really appreciated the importance of good policies. And so as I moved into roles where I was able to craft good policies, we were able to make really significant improvements in the work environment and make fairer hiring practices and discipline policies that really made a difference in the workplace. Even in my home life, when we bought an old farm and remodeled an old farmhouse, everyone said to tear down. And so I really think that my passion to make things better wherever I find the need really defines me.
So Trish, what qualities do you most value in the people around you?
Well, I have always valued honesty and integrity. I really can't abide dishonesty and people not having strong principles. I think that's so important. But beyond that, people's enthusiasm, people's willingness to try new things, to do something different, really makes a difference. And I love being around people that are up to the challenge to try new things.
Well, I'm not sure you have much of this right now, but what do you like to do in your off time?
Oh, well, I love music. I love music, and I so miss it. I'm on the board of directors for the West Virginia Symphony Parkersburg that brings the symphony up from Charleston here. We have 5 concerts a year, and then bring the symphony into the school system for the children. And we've had to go on a hiatus this year, and it breaks my heart. I also sing with the Parkersburg Choral Society and with my church choir, and I so miss singing. I don't think anybody misses my singing particularly, but I definitely miss singing a lot. And I think it's so important that we have the arts community here locally. And so I strongly encourage everybody to support the arts as we go through this difficult time. I know the Actors Guild is putting on fundraisers, and the Art Center is sponsoring arts activities so that people can participate in safely. So support the arts here in Wood County, especially during this difficult time.
Well, with that, we'd like to give you a few minutes to tell us and the voters anything you think we may have missed, that you think you want us to know, including how to get in touch with you, how to get involved, how to get a yard sign, donate, etc.
Well, we have a very active Facebook page, and you can follow us on Facebook at Trish Pritchard for House. You can also access our website. It's trusttrishwv.com. And so all of our contact information is on there. We just got a new box of yard signs, so I'm very excited to get those out. So contact us and we'll bring one by. We don't have much longer to wait. I want to encourage everyone to make sure that they have made a plan to vote. You must make a plan. We have some important dates coming up. Right now, you can still request a mail-in ballot. You can call Mark Rhodes, the county clerk's office, and request a ballot. You can go online at the Secretary of State's office and request one online, and they will mail you a ballot, and then you can mail it back, or you can drop it off down there at the courthouse. Early voting is right around the corner. October 21st starts our early voting. So we're there. People are voting, and early voting begins. So make your plan to vote, because election day is actually the last day to vote. So vote early. Vote early.
All right. Well, Trish, we appreciate your interest in serving the people of District 10 and wish you luck in your campaign. And we thank you for meeting with us this morning.
Well, thank you again for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So everyone, remember, wash your hands.